Good evening, everybody. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Time is now 4:30. Roll call, Tina, aye. Joanne?
Aye.
Nicole?
Aye.
Danielle?
Aye.
Victor?
Yes.
Please stand and join us in saying the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, I'd like to make a motion to approve tonight's agenda. Can I get a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor of that motion say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Motion carries 5-0. 5A are the minutes for the October 15th and the October 15th, October 20th, and October 30th board meetings. There's one change, sorry. There's one change on the October 20th board meeting. Number 3, it doesn't look like Victor had a vote, but it is approved 5-0.
Correct.
That was just approval of the agenda.
Oh, we didn't write the word aye.
Yeah. Great. Can I get a motion to approve the board meeting minutes with the change?
I'll make a motion to approve consent items 5A with the small addition just noted.
Seeking a second?
I'll second.
All in favor of that motion say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Motion carries 5-0. 5B is the treasurer's report. 5C is the accounts payable bills. I don't know, Jorge, if you wanted to make any mentions of those, or do you have any notes that you want to address?
Just to indicate that the reports presented were the revenues fund by detail. We also presented the Fund 10 revenues and expenses report, check by summary, check by vendor, and there is also a report that is for the cash disbursements during the month of October. And there's also the referendum activity regarding the PMA funds as well. So if there are any questions, I'm definitely open to any questions you would have on any of those reports.
Okay. I don't have any questions. I'll make a motion to approve the reports as presented, seeking a second.
I'll second it.
All in favor say aye.
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 Any nays? Motion carries 5-0. 5D is the personnel hires, resignations, and leaves. It's basically just information only, so I'll make a motion to approve the report as we have in our packet. Seeking a second?
I'll second.
All in favor say aye.
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 Any nays? Motion carries 5-0. 6A, District Administrator Report.
So you might have heard Tina mention a little talk about Waylon. So the Bristol community showed up today to honor and show support for our warrior Waylon and his family. He's a 4K student in our school. He's such a cutie. Waylon led our parade, and students and staff showed their support for Waylon and his family in the fight against pediatric cancer. So a lot of yellow in the school today, and he was a great parade marshal. He did a great job. The middle school band performed at the Fiserv Forum. I went, it was so much fun. They did a great job. They are really, really impressive. It was fun to see them up on the screen. They played before the game while the NBA stars were warming up. They did some music then, and then they led the whole arena through the Star Spangled Banner, and they were like pros. They did a great job. So it was a proud day for Bristol.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and hats off to Mr. Murphy for all of his work. Moving on, breakfast on November 11th, and thanks to the board members that were able to show up. I know not everybody could, but it was a very just informal, nice gathering and day to celebrate and honor the people who serve our country. We served some donuts and some cookies and coffee. Kids came through and shared cards and thanked them. And they had a chance to introduce themselves, say who they were, if they wanted to share a little bit about themselves. And then it topped off with the band playing the Star Spangled Banner.
Yes, thank
so.
you to those who put it together, and thanks to Victor too. So he served, so he couldn't be
Oh,
there to
well, thank you,
celebrate.
Victor.
Thanks to
Yes,
Victor,
thank you.
too.
Thank you.
It was a nice day. Teach the kids, formations. And so I was like, yes, give me your
Making
number.
events.
Substitute
You
drill
know what?
sergeant.
He might be our new Palma. But he was lovely.
Not a bad idea.
Bacteria.
And again, it was, we have several current parents who are veterans and grandparents, and it was a nice day. And thank you to Jean and the principals and Sarah Gilmore and everybody that helped. On Monday, I had the honor of going to the Whitewater Leadership Summit with Janet Ohm, our GT coordinator. We had the 8th grade teachers picked 6 student leaders to attend the summit, and it was really an awesome experience. The kids got to meet with students from all over southeast Wisconsin. The speaker, his name was Ted Netsky. He's currently the mayor of Port Washington, but he's a former school superintendent. He oversees CESA 6. He talked about his own hardships as a child and how he overcame them, and the importance of, he called them nudgers, people in your life who kind of nudge you, right? And maybe you don't think you can do something, and to always believe in yourself, and just a lot of different leadership tools. When you have a problem, go through it, not around it. Always be kind to others. Don't give up on yourself. And I have to say, hats off to those 6 students. Very polite, very well behaved, and they represented Bristol really nicely. And thank you to Janet for taking them. And then finally, last thing, I'm keeping this kind of short. We have a lot of great things ahead. We did receive another DPI Educator Effectiveness Grant, so thank you to Carrie for her work on that. We found out recently we were awarded a total of $5,514. The grant cycle started in July. It goes through June 30th. And the funds are used, we're going to be ordering paper copies of the updated Danielson Evaluation Framework. We've made our own copies in the past, and that also costs money, which will be used as a resource for our staff to refer to as we lead them, and they work with us through the teacher evaluation cycle. And then the remaining funds are used to offset the cost of Google Apps licensing, since we use that as our platform to store all of our evaluation information, and for teachers to write their student learning objectives and their professional goals. So thank you, Carrie, again, for your work on that.
Nice, that's great.
That's really it for today. I just have one other shout out to the girls basketball teams. I heard that I believe Team B took first place and Team A took third in the Yorkville tournament, so way to go.
Yes.
Good job, thank you. Number 7, Carrie. Get to present for us.
Are you sharing the screen? Are you sharing?
I'm gonna get it, I'm trying to get off the screen, so.
Okay.
Sorry.
That is working. All right. The report card was officially released last week, so some exciting news to share. But before we jump into the exciting news, just a little bit of background information. So 2 years ago, Wisconsin DPI did standard setting for the forward exam, which basically means they looked at the assessment questions and what it takes to be proficient and advanced. And so a group of educators got together and reevaluated what those levels needed to be. So that happened 2 years ago, and so we saw the first reports of that on last year's school report cards. Over this past summer, another group of educators came together to do another standard setting for the report cards themselves. So I'll talk a little bit more about this on a further slide. But I was actually a part of that panel this summer, so spent a couple days in Madison, worked with educators across the state, and we really clarified what the benchmark levels are for each of the different thresholds. So there's significantly exceeds, meets few, and fails to meet. So the cut scores for those, that was what we were really looking at and evaluating. So looking at a lot of different data to do that. Very exciting. We received a score of 82.5, which exceeds expectations, which is really exciting because this is an increase from 76.5 last year. It's a really big jump. And I mean, I don't want to be the braggart, but we're beating out all of the schools in the area as well. So, you know, that was one of the big things that a lot of schools actually went down this past year, and Bristol was able to overcome and continue growing, and so we had a really big jump. And so that is thanks to the amazing work of all of our teachers and the students, and you know, it just says a lot about Bristol and the community. So when I talked about the cut scores, so overall Bristol's at 82.5. If we had the cut scores last year, we would have actually been in significantly exceeds because last year it was at 82, so we would have met that threshold. However, I think this is we're still doing great, and we only have 1.5 points to go to get into significantly exceeds, so that's really exciting. So our achievement score is above almost 84% of K-8s in the state, which is amazing. And then our ELA, meeting in advance, across the board, we had almost 70%, and then 68% in math. So really exciting to see those bumps, and both of those went up, and I'll go into more detail again on that once we get to that point of the report card. So, some of you have heard me talk about the school report card before, so I'm sorry if I'm boring you with this again. But there are 4 priority areas on the report card. It's, I think, always good to kind of go over, especially if we only see it once a year. So the 4 areas are the achievement, the growth, target group outcomes, and on track to graduation. So the bottom 2, target growth and our target group and on track, those for us as a K-8 school, those are always 25% of our overall score. The 2 things that vary are going to be the achievement and growth. So if we have the higher percentage of students of low socioeconomic status, the higher weight we would have in our growth focus. So we had some minor changes in that from last year to this year, but nothing significant. I think we had a slightly, let's see, minor, yeah. So we had 34% last year in achievement, we're at 35% achievement. So not anything significant in that regard. So this just kind of gives you that snapshot of all of the different priority areas. So I'll go into more detail with that as well. I like this page too because it gives you a comparison of the top lines are how we perform, and then the bottom lines are how we compare to other K-8 schools in the state. So it's nice to see that our lines are always longer than the state average. That's always good to see. So achievement, this is a really big celebration. So we did have an increase in this from last year. We were, no, I don't even have this written down here, I'm trying to see it. I believe it, I don't remember exactly what it was. I think it was 775 last year, but I'll have to verify that one. But this was an increase from last year. We can go into the breakdown. I really like this graph because it shows you where we were on the 23-24 report card to the 24-25 report card. So on the left side, you'll see English language arts, and they're growing. We went up 5% in ELA and a little over, or almost 4% in math. What I also like to highlight is the the advanced level. So in the blue, in math, we jumped 5% in our advanced students. So we're not only helping our students grow in general, but even the students that are oftentimes really difficult to move, those high achieving students, we're continuing to increase those students' academic skills as well. So really exciting to see that. Growth was another area that we saw a significant jump from last year's report card. Last year, this was at 76.5. So another big jump in this. And again, this is just showing how much our students are improving from year to year. And so we are about 74% of schools, we're above 74% of schools, K-8 schools in the state, in this area. This is one of my favorite charts. I know it's really, really hard for you to see on the panel itself, but in your packets, you should have a page that has this. Without looking too closely at the details, the lines represent a growth value of 3, and the scale is 6. So the maximum score you can get is a 6. So anything that's to the right of that line in the middle, that's above average growth. What I love to see in this is we're above average growth for all subgroups of kids. So you know we're not missing anybody. There are places where maybe the growth we want to see a little bit more. We did have a slight decrease in our students with disabilities, like 0.2 and 0.1. So that's something though that we want to look at. Still above average growth, but we want to dig into a little bit more what that looks like. For target group outcomes, this is the bottom quartile of students. So how the bottom quartile students perform on the exam. So this also increased from last year. We were at 72.6 last year. So this means that our lowest group of students is improving significantly. So that was really, really nice to see as well. This basically, you get a score on this. It's like a report card for just that bottom quartile of students, so how you're comparing. And so the top bar represents the students that are in that target group, and then the bottom, the light blue bar, represents the rest of the students in the school. So obviously they're our lowest performing group. They are going to have lower scores than the rest of the school. That just makes sense. Now we want to close that gap. So I mean, you can see spaces where we have some room to grow. So obviously, you know, math and ELA, there is a significant gap, and so we want to continue looking at how do we improve that. Growth, we're pretty close between target group and non-target group. Honestly, I'd like to see the target group have a little higher growth than the non-target because they have more to go. So that's something, you know, that we continue to look at. And then our absenteeism, right? If students aren't here, it's hard for us to help improve their learning and their scores. So when we have any kind of attendance issues, you can kind of see a comparison here between our target group. And it's a little bit lower than the non-target. So that's another place where we can look at what does that attendance look like for those students. On track to graduation, because we're K-8, they look at a little bit different, a few different factors. Last year we were at 86, so this went up a couple of points as well. And so this one looks at the factors of absenteeism, school-wide attendance, and then it looks at our 3rd grade ELA scores and our 8th grade math scores. And this popped up here, but I just wanted to put on, for comparison purposes, you know, just look at the math in the bottom right. Our last year was 67.6 and we jumped to 85.3. So that's a really, really huge jump. We had a new math curriculum put in place last year. So that was the first full year of implementation. So that seems to be working. And so that's, you know, again, something really exciting to celebrate is, you know, when you implement something new, you don't always see a jump right away. And to see a jump like that is pretty incredible. So kudos to Ms. Hubble, our 8th grade math teacher. And then our 3rd grade English language arts. This is a little bit lower than I'd like to see, right, 66, but it did go up from 63.2. We've been working really hard with our early literacy in Act 20. So while this is a 3rd grade score, all the work that happens prior to 3rd grade and 4K, kindergarten, grade 1 and 2, right, that all plays a part into what happens in the 3rd grade scores. So last year was the first year of implementation for Act 20 practices officially. And so, you know, again, a little bit of a gain in that area, but I'm confident just based on what I'm seeing in the classrooms and the data that we're seeing from our Ames web testing, that I would anticipate another increase in those levels for the next school report card. And then this is just reading, or just informational only. They just started reporting this. The percentage of pupils then who were proficient at the end of 3rd grade. So we are, again, slightly above average. And again, this is something that we're looking at, especially with everything going on with Act 20. And then just for some reference, historical data, just to kind of get a sense of where we were. The 22-23 report card had a slightly different, that had the old cut scores, so it's hard to compare that report card to the 23-24, 24-25. I did just put it on there just again to have more than 2 years on there. But there is, just a comparison of where we are. And again, I like to highlight the achievement jump from 73 last year to 79.8. I think is really exciting to see for us. So then moving forward, I always like to look at data and then, okay, so what? What do we do now? So really looking at our achievement of different demographic groups, particularly those with special needs. We see some gaps with that. We see some concerns with some growth in there. And so really looking at how do we support those students, how do we support our teaching staff, and meeting the needs of all kids, including those who have disabilities or IEPs. And then again, continuing to focus on early literacy from through Act 20. So, thank you. I'm very honored to have the support of all of you and our Bristol community, our parents. This work is, it's not just the teachers, it's not just the students, it's also the parents that support us in this. And so I wanted to say thank you to our community, to all of you.
Thank you.
so
Great
much.
job.
Thank you, Carrie.
Is there anything that you see as a significant gap that can help continue to push the scores forward like you have done? You mentioned the math curriculum, which seems to be catching on. Is there anything else you'd like to highlight?
Other than really looking at that early literacy work that we've been doing, I think that's going to continue to help push us even further. And there's been some really solid gains in that already. So because it's a 3-year average of the scores, it lags a little bit. So I wouldn't just say hopeful, but I'm pretty confident that just again, based on what I'm seeing, that's going to be the work that we're doing is going to really pay off. So
Yeah, it's encouraging. So thank you.
It truly is. It really is. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, number 8, public comments. Any? No. Number 9, 9A is the STEM donation. Do you want to present that?
I'm gonna give it over to you.
Okay.
Did
right.
such a good job.
Yeah.
Well, I wish I could take any kind of credit for this, but I just happen to be in the right place at the right time. So I believe Brad is with us on the meet. I hope so. I hope he's watching us. But Brad Will with ERMCO, he connected with Brianna Fleece, who was our library media teacher last year, to let us know, hey, we're coming into the area, our company is, we are very interested in supporting local schools, and we'd like to partner with you. So she's like, Carrie, what do you think? Should we try this out? So we connected with him last year and started talking about what this could look like. And, Brad was right on board, talking about all the different things that they support schools with. They work with a lot of schools in Tennessee, which is where their one of their other locations is. And so he said, yep, I'll get back to you. We'll let you know, if we're able to donate anything or provide anything for you. And so we got news in a little bit ago that, hey, our budget got approved, and we've been approved to give you $20,000 for STEAM, basically materials. So anything that like technology, hardware, not anything like training or anything like that, but consumable items. So 3D printers or robotics kits, or I know Ms. Bruce has got a bunch of the like STEM kits and things like that in the library. And so we're looking at for one of our middle school exploratory classes, an app creators exploratory class, which we don't have the tablets for. So now we'll be able to use those funds to help us pay for those tablets then, so the kids can start programming and creating different apps on there. So it's very exciting. We have some plans of where we want to go with those funds. So yes, we'll be able to, we're going to be doing a check ceremony. We'll get a big giant check. And Central also got $20,000 as well. So they partnered with both of us.
Wow.
And so just a really big thank you to Brad and to Nicole and all of their support.
Absolutely, that's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
There's potential for more, right? Like,
Yeah, other, I can't promise
Yeah.
anything, but
Yeah, right.
it's just a matter of what Code does each year, and they're not asking anything from us. They're not asking for certain updates or anything like that. They just find a lot of value in supporting schools in that area, in the area that they have offices in. So.
Yeah, that's a very generous
It
of a
is.
local company to do that.
Yeah.
And maybe we can start a little competition out there and have other local companies try to match that donation. But it's important to, I know we were just talking about it, to thank them and make sure that the community knows that this is
Definitely.
someone, business in the area to help.
Yeah.
Yeah,
very
much
exciting.
appreciated.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very much appreciated.
So I will make a motion to approve the gracious donation to Bristol School. Seeking a second.
I second.
All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you, Brad. We
Yes,
appreciate
thank you.
your
Thank you.
your donation.
We look forward to seeing you on the 9th.
Yes.
All right, 9B. State Delegate Assembly. There's the convention in January.
Yes, I attended last year. It was very enjoyable, very oh my goodness, I'm so sorry, my brain's mushy. I learned a lot. It was lovely. I'm happy to attend again, but also if someone else would like to attend and has the availability to do so, whatever the board would like.
I would be interested in attending.
Yeah.
Did you end up going, or it was only
No.
alternate?
It didn't work with my.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, definitely some schools send more than one. I mean, so there's multiple tracks. So there were certainly times when I went to one thing and I was like, oh, that's really interesting. I can't be in two places.
Sure, because you
so-
can't be in everything. Anyone else interested in going?
I think that's like the third week of January.
Yeah.
isn't it?
21st and
Yeah, and I was
22nd.
trying to look up the schedule and I couldn't, they don't have one yet.
I think they have some events Tuesday night and then there's different activities throughout the week, if I'm remembering correctly. But
Yeah, they had special ones, I think Tuesday where you had to sign up extra and then it said Wednesday, Thursday, Friday was the normal.
Was the most of the,
Yeah. It just didn't give start
dates?
times or end times, so I was unsure of what.
it showed a little bit in
it's mainly like 8 to 6.
the school news. It was like the big talkers. There was like 3 to 5.
January 20.
It's the 21st
Thursday.
through 23rd.
When is our meeting?
Good question. So, yeah, it's the night of the 21st, I think, is their welcome. Let me look here.
Yeah, so it just would be Thursday, Friday, because there was only a meeting.
Oh yeah, that's the day of our board meeting, isn't it?
That Wednesday is the day of our meeting.
General sessions are on Wednesday, the 21st.
When do we have to give notice by? So we can all think about it and get our schedule.
Well, there's early registration, so you get a discount.
I mean,
But we could always add additional people. And I'd also would say I wouldn't limit it. If there's a lot of bulk of classes all at once. So if more than one of us wants to go, I think it's well worth the resources. And it's local, which means there's no overnight travel. So it's a nice learning opportunity as well. So I know we need to approve a delegate tonight, but I mean, I'm more than willing to, if any board member wants to attend for the education part, everyone should be able to go. But we have to approve a delegate tonight, right?
Early bird registration must be received by December 15th.
Yep.
Standard
Oh, yeah, yeah.
reservation.
Yeah, so we have time.
Can be January 2nd, so if we could add this back on the agenda in December to see if it does work with other people's schedule.
Sure.
I checked my schedule when this was in. I can attend something on Friday, but I can't attend the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it an all or none?
That's what I was just gonna say.
Yeah.
Can you do like
'Cause I remember
individual?
I asked that last time.
It is all or none.
Oh.
That's what I was
Okay.
afraid of.
Yeah. So let's just put it on December, we'll pick our official delegate. Well,
Okay.
hold on, wait, so December is registration. Tina, if you want.
December 15th, but
If
when's our,
Well, our meeting will be the 17th, right? Or
Yeah.
we're gonna talk about it.
we're
So,
gonna talk about
do we
that.
wanna just approve a delegate, and then if other people wanna go, we figure it out later?
At least you've got one.
Yeah.
So then it's just done? Because everyone can go, it's just
Right.
more a who's our delegate.
And what happens if we choose a delegate, like Tina, and then she has to work and can't go?
Last year we did an alternate.
Oh,
So
got
like,
it.
if you wanna be the delegate and I'm the alternate, and then one of us will be there. But then other people can attend, we'll figure that out later.
So we could do one now and then choose alternatives, or if anyone wants to, on the December meeting.
Yeah.
Okay. Early bird registration is $325, standard registration is $360, so it's not that much more of a difference.
So do you want to be the delegate? You want me to be the delegate? All you do, the delegate part is just the there's like a minor voting piece, but other than that, you go to all the classes.
Is that on Thursday
I think so.
or Wednesday, Thursday?
Either way, if we approve me, you,
Thank you,
me,
Carrie.
then
Thanks,
we just
Carrie.
figure it out
Thank you.
later.
Thank you.
Okay.
So,
I would be interested in
Yeah.
going, definitely.
Okay. I know I'm interested in going, I just can't stay that whole time, that's the problem.
yeah.
So, I don't think I could be the delegate if that's the case.
Well,
But you could
possibly.
attend.
You could still
Yeah,
attend,
you
you
could
could
attend.
Okay,
attend.
that's what I'm saying,
Sessions
that you
I
can
don't think
make.
I could be the delegate.
So how about I make a motion to make Tina the delegate?
Okay, I'll second that. All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Right.
Any nays? Motion carries 5-0.
Cool.
And then we'll put it on the, we can do an alternative now, or put it on the calendar in December if additional people want to come. Or you can just let Michelle know if you want to come and we
I
can
think
get
there's
that.
a
I
later.
just need to know if 3 of you are going,
Then we just
there's a
postpone, yeah.
post-
I think
Well-
it sounds like there's a good chance.
Also,
you
we'd
could-
have to change our meeting. Sorry to cut.
Oh,
you.
yeah. I think there's a good chance you could make it. Let's just figure out an alternative if the case arises. We have plenty of time before it
Okay.
arises. And yeah, again, everyone should be able to attend, and we'll talk later about the Friday thing.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, so who would like to be the alternative?
I'll make a motion to have Danielle be the alternate.
I can.
All right, I will second that. All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Motion carries 5-0.
Then Jean can check the box. Literally.
What? I'm
I was like, you can check the box, literally, because you gotta turn it in.
Fill this out, please.
All right, 9C, as we talk about that, the December school board meeting date.
Guess that should have been switched.
Right? Well, December though, it's because of a concert, which we always have to change in December.
So, I had talked a little bit with Nicole and Danielle when I saw them yesterday when we were meeting with Neola. And we talked about possibly the 10th, December 10th or the 15th as a alternate to for the December board meeting.
The 10th works for me. You open? Anybody care?
Works for me.
Either or.
I'm open 10th or 15th.
I'm looking.
Yep, take your time.
Go.
Take your time. Is your Outlook booting up?
Yeah.
His Outlook is booting up. We talk about, well, I'll kill time while he's pulling that up. Can we just, for all the holiday concerts, just do a general quorum notice that like, could we do the
Yeah.
standard, we're in attendance? So if we just do that for all the holiday events, just
Yep.
covers it.
Sounds good.
That would be awesome.
Say we'll be here before we know it.
Oh, yeah. I know.
There's nothing on the 10th in the school calendar? Okay.
We look, yeah.
I'm good on the 10th.
You're gonna take?
I'm not seeing anything.
No? Okay.
Not at the moment.
We're good, Tony?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. So
School calendar's not showing.
I'll make a motion to approve moving the December board meeting to December 10th instead of December 17th. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Motion carries 5-0. 9D, resolution designating public depositories for financial year 2025-2026. I'll make a motion to approve the depositories as presented, seeking a second.
I'll second that.
All in favor of that motion, say aye.
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 Any nays? Motion carries 5-0. 9E, moving right along. December Staff Appreciation Luncheon. Last year, we did that luncheon here with tacos. Is that something that we want to do this year instead of budget for? Is there something different anyone would like to do, or thoughts, or no thoughts?
What was the
Sorry.
feedback?
Sorry. We had tacos to the face here, and they came here and they catered it. They had 2 different types of tacos, 2 or 3 different types of meat, nachos. They had an array of everything. Salsa, all the fixings, some dessert, water, soda.
It was really good. I think everybody loved it.
Oh, good.
That's what I understood.
Almost
Yeah.
all of the staff, I think everybody except 1 or 2 people came.
I think so.
Yeah, I would say, yeah, December 12th, if it's an early release day, they get
It's an
to,
early
they
release.
get to have some great food.
It's
Mm.
a Bristol family that organizes it, that has Taco the Face. That food truck is a Bristol family. We can set a budget. I could reach out to the Trinidad family and see what the thoughts are.
Yeah. I'll just say, just from PTO experience, I think a budget of $1,300 should be able to get us close to where we would like to be.
Do you remember
Let's
what it
see.
was last year?
Let's see what they
I think it
invest.
was
about-
like 11, wasn't it?
No, it was about with tip and everything. It was about 2,900.
Oh my goodness, okay.
But if we condense it, like not do, whether we don't do nachos or whether we don't do tacos or we
We had
do,
a lot of leftover food.
we had a lot of
There
leftover
was,
food.
yeah.
So after that, we donated all of that food to the
Okay,
Bristol
great.
Fire Department.
Awesome.
They also, that day, had taco food truck. So they probably had tacos coming out of their ears. But they were very appreciative, they loved it. I think they froze some of it, but they, it was a nice donation to
Yeah. No, that would-
that organization.
That would be great. Do you want a motion, or do you just, was that just a conversational point? I don't know.
How did we, I know you set that up last year. We did end up with a lot of extra.
We did.
Did they, do a head count?
I gave him a head count of 118 people. I
Okay.
think my head count from sources was way more than actually attended.
Oh, because is that the staff count? Is about 117.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
Were some of our part-time, like on early release days,
Right.
our
We-
special
we-
education stuff doesn't always
Some
stay.
people leave, yeah.
Some of them, right? So maybe if
Oh.
we know this ahead of time, we can make sure that they.
Like we could
Okay.
tell him, because we had so much food, could we say that only 65? I don't know. Like, because we had so much food left over. We could condense it to only be a nacho bar. We can condense it to only be a taco bar. And he did, Last year, he did say if you guys do it again, he would potentially give a discount, so I can inquire about that. He also, because they were here serving the food, I know it was an additional
Oh, yeah.
fee, so we could potentially eliminate that, but I could come back with prices.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure I could continue looking at that option.
Yeah, I think we have to actually make a decision because December 12th is
Right around the corner.
pretty quick.
Yeah.
Um,
What do you think the budget?
Well, last year was 2,900, I think.
we probably had
That was with,
$500, maybe more of, I mean, Tina and I carried,
Is there a way we can
Great.
limit between
So
two
should we say something like $2,000? or-
20,
we could go to him and say,
why don't we see 2,500?
Yeah.
we
I was
could
gonna say
go to
between
him and say,
2,000
what can you do for this amount of money? And see what he could give us.
I am fairly confident based on the numbers I know that it costs us to do things at PTO for staff. I think between 1,300 and 1,500 will get it done. So I think if we empower
Yeah.
Tina, and if you feel like we have to go above that amount,
I could
then
let you guys know.
maybe we revisit it, but I think we can do it.
For the whole staff, you guys are able to do it for under that?
We do some
Wow.
finagling. Try and pull magic with budgets, but but we also didn't have the food spread and servers here, so that's a different.
Right, so if
it's a
we
different feel.
eliminate that, and then I'm thinking that also,
Self-serve type.
Yeah.
would eliminate the tip.
Yeah, so there are certain things that I
I
think we
didn't
can do.
realize it was that much. I bought all the desserts last year in a return. I mean, I that was just on me, which was fine, so that was really expensive.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
good though.
Why don't we meet in the middle and do 2,000? And then, obviously, it doesn't have to all be,
You don't have to go that high.
Spend
you just
it.
know that's
Yeah.
budget,
but then I could start out with saying, hey, what can you do for 1,500? And he's gonna be like, I can give you water, you know, what can you do for 2,000?
Well, here's a question, can we just get water from like Costco, would that be cheaper versus him just supplying?
Oh, he didn't, he,
Oh, okay.
yeah, I was just
Okay.
being, I was
Okay, I
being
didn't realize
sarcastic
that.
of, I
Okay,
can't give
sorry.
you anything for 1,500.
Well, I would think, no, he knows how much we packed up and carried out, so maybe he can just
Condense
adjust
Those
and
numbers,
come up with, yeah.
yeah.
And if you do it, a banquet style where you can go and serve yourself, maybe you don't need the overhead of people serving.
Yeah, because he had 3 people here, 3
Yeah.
or 4 people here, set up,
Yeah,
they
if he
set
has
up a whole
one or
buffet
two, like,
line.
I mean, if anything, maybe cut it down to 1 or 2.
Yeah.
And this is December 12th, right?
Well, let's see what
I
it
guess.
comes up
Yeah,
with.
let's see what it comes up with.
Okay,
Probably like
so
around
I'll make a motion
1
to approve the December staff luncheon, December 12th, with a budget of $2,000.
I'll second.
All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Motion carries 5-0. I'll let you guys know what he says.
Thanks for organizing.
Thank you guys.
All right, moving on to 9F, board policies, first reading. First, I just want to say thank you to the policy committee. You guys got through those fairly quickly.
Oh, there's still more.
Okay, never mind.
Don't get too excited.
Don't get too excited. Neola did warn us that they're potentially looking at 109 for the next release.
Oh my goodness.
Would that be in May?
They're trying, nope, the December, January.
Oh,
So they're trying to cut it down, but he did warn us.
But do we have all of those?
That's what we don't know. We'd have to look through it.
Some
But
of them are, I mean, when you read it, it's hard to understand why we have it. Like 4124, where we say you should reasonably expect that we're gonna keep your employment next year, but there's no guarantee. Why do we say that?
Ooh, so that's a really good question. And when Tim was with us,
Yeah.
he gets to share the backstory. Anytime you see a policy, it's likely because something occurred.
Right.
And so he shared examples even too of like athletics. And this might be more at a high school level, but using some of that paperwork to avoid
right, because it's a
someone filing
contract.
unemployment. Right, so if they don't have these written notices, et cetera, they could then file unemployment. So a lot of that protects the district from that miscommunication with the staff member. Yeah, so that's what the story
I mean,
is.
I understand.
Yeah,
But I do think that when you give somebody a position with a stipend, it has a start and end date, doesn't it?
I don't know,
Should.
I guess it
Yeah.
it should, but I don't know.
Plus, none of our stipends are $30,000 or $50,000 a
Right.
year where you're getting unemployment. But I was just using it as an example of something that maybe we shouldn't adopt all of the policies because it's harder to manage. And then when you get 109, it'd be nice
Well,
if
he
we only
talked
had
about
60.
an example of a substitute teacher that's part-time too as well. would do that.
Yeah,
That
examples
makes
would be
sense.
like if you had a long-term sub
Long-term.
and then they finished the end of the school year,
Yeah.
they would have a reasonable potential assumption that they might get rehired on. So again, yes, it does add extra things to keep in mind and update, but there's some extra layers of protection there. But he also shared with us a list of ones that we don't get to look at because whether we're a different type of school district or ones where we're not high schools or wouldn't apply. So there are plenty we get to opt out of, but
So we may not have the 109, but we may have.
Correct.
Sure.
It's gonna be a large.
It's a large packet.
Just go with that. It's gonna be a large
I
packet.
believe he even complimented us on some of ours, right? That
Yeah.
we didn't need to,
yeah, some of them were already edited in advance. And of the 109, like 20 of them might just be technical changes like lettering and then others are more substantial,
Yeah.
so. But
Okay.
do you want to go through the first one? The bylaw?
What do you want me to go through?
That's the one we're approving tonight?
Go through the changes for 0131.1.
The only change, so Tim recommended, because it's been multiple conversations in the last year and a half on the board of the committee doing the first reading, this was his wording of putting into this policy to allow that to happen. So now we can do, committee can do first reading, board do second reading, or if there's a policy that just should be board do first and second reading, we have that option as well.
Is there another corresponding policy that has to be updated then? Like, do we have a different one that says the board has to do first and second?
That's this
Or
one.
That
that's
was
all
this
in there?
one.
Okay,
Mhm. So if we took it, because originally it didn't have or committee on there,
got it.
it was set that the board can only do both.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think
Good.
Victor originally highlighted this, and
Yep.
we're adding the word committee, makes it more explicit what we've had in practice for the past year. And so even though we have clearly discussed it and took board action to do it, adding the word committee does truly make it more impactful policy-wise, that the committee does the first reading, then submits recommendations to the board, and then we have the opportunity at the second reading to either approve, ask more questions, or do
make a
another
change, yeah.
revisit to a policy. So this adding the word committee puts us into alignment with the practice that we're currently doing. So thank you.
I'm not a fan of having a committee do the first reading. I think the governance is clearly stating in the Wisconsin statutes that the school board is responsible for that governance function.
Okay.
And specifically 120.12 and 120.13. I just don't think the expectation, defining the expectations and setting standards and establishing those policy boundaries lies with this group.
Oh, yeah, I totally agree with that.
Right. So the first and second reading with the committee recommendation should stay the way I think it was intended by the Wisconsin statutes.
I don't disagree, but we do have the, I don't disagree, and quite honestly, I don't remember ever giving the committee the authority to do the first read. But at the same time, I don't know what it would hurt, because when it comes to us for second, we do have a chance to say, hold on.
Yeah.
And we get to see the changes,
So I think there's safeguards in place.
which would be the same as a first reading.
Yeah, I would invite you to the policy committee meeting to watch and just participate from afar to see. We take 90 minutes and we went through what? Are there, how many on there? 8? So we
We did more than that, but we had to.
okay, so let's just say there's the 12. We take a full 90 minutes and we have principals, 2 other staff and administrators, and we talk it through to create the recommendation. And then it comes to us, which we are always able to press pause and not approve something and to wait when all of us are comfortable and do so. So I hear what you're saying as far as it's nice if the people who are approving the policies could do it twice. We will run into it's gonna be 3 to 5 hours of policy discussion that then we would have to do all together as a first reading independently from this board meeting.
Which is what it used to be.
Which is
3
what we
years ago.
used to do, so that's why our meetings
2
were
years ago.
pushing like 3 to 4 hours. So I feel like, I know there's probably, like maybe it's like a trust thing too, but whenever something comes for second reading, we could absolutely delay it to ask more questions to where we end up doing almost a third at any ones that are more complicated.
I appreciate that, thank you. I think my trepidation though is when a committee, and me attending a committee, and I'm perfectly willing to attend a committee meeting, but I can't say anything, because then it becomes a formal, you know, you have to do that, and it becomes difficult to, at least for me, to kind of participate in that arena.
That makes sense.
Sure.
Right, and give my input until after the fact, which I'm doing anyway now, right? Trying to give input after the fact at the first reading or as it's presented in the agenda and going back and forth through email.
Well, we've talked about, when we talked about the committee, we've also talked about rotating members. And if you're passionate about it and you would like some more comfort level with it, I could easily step out and you could participate in the longer policy first reading discussions to where you can be more part of that hands-on at the first step, flexible on that. I mean, that's what.
Yeah, we
Actually,
talked about it the last
I
time,
thought
but
that was
I don't
our
think-
decision, was Nicole was the only
Yeah, she's the only permanent
steady,
person,
and
right?
then
Mhm.
different board
Right, but if
members
you-
would come.
And again, I'm not saying anything that I already haven't said, but if you look at some of those definitions and some of the social media, which is a lot better than when it started, right? But when you look at some of the definitions and some of those other things, there are, they're broad, right? And they're purposely broad because Neola even said it themselves, is that they're purposely broad because we're trying to cover a lot of school systems, right? And this was kind of something that I think we need to bring up, and I'll bring that motion up later for the next agenda. But we need to bring up is how do we augment these and not be so broad in some of these Neola policies, especially the ones, and we've all seen them happen in our own community. Wilmot just had a problem, Central's had a problem in the past, and a couple other the school boards where you sit there and you scratch your head as how can they be in that situation? And I can't help but wonder if that's the reason is because the policies are so, they've adopted Neola as well, and they're so broad that it allows for too much interpretation. You know, I don't think anybody gets up in the morning, don't get me wrong, and says, I'm gonna go do this, do something bad, but I do think that under times of crisis,
Right.
if you had a policy that outlined it almost verbatim, and you could kind of rely on that policy, then you don't have to make those decisions, and we don't have a public outcry or uproar because we didn't make the right policy specific to our community. And that worries me a lot, seeing what goes around just in our little corner
Right.
of Wisconsin.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, well, I think, I mean, policy is it's so critically important. It's not gonna protect us from every scenario. We can
No.
do our absolute best, but there always will be things that will test the boundaries of what we have in writing. What would you be comfortable with? Are you proposing a policy committee and then we just do first and second reading?
Well, I have a recommendation, but I couldn't get it into this one. So I would like to at least say that I do have, I think, a solution, right, that might be workable. But until then, I don't see us, I'm not in favor of saying that we're going to do the policy committee as the first reading without having some avenue for this board to bring in, and still keep the Neola policy as it is, but bring in more guidance for the administrative guidelines.
I guess I feel like I feel like we still have ample room to do that. So I'm trying to figure out, does the policy committee still meet and discuss? And then is the board, would you feel comfortable with the board doing a first and second reading?
I'm still comfortable with the board doing a first and second reading.
Okay.
I got an agenda or a date, so 12/8, I plan on being at the policy committee as you suggested. It's gonna be hard for me to shut up, but while I'm in that, but I will take that and listen, but I think the problem with me right now is that governance belongs to this board.
Yeah. Yeah,
And-
we're in agreement.
And making sure that the governance is as specific as possible. I don't want to be in a position where we're reacting to something that's happened. I want to have thought about this is happening or could happen. We see it in our community already. Let's have a policy, let's review that policy and augment it, right? A supplemental policy for the board, which is from Neola's own recommendation. And thank you, by the way, Dr. Schmidt, for summarizing all that in there.
Sorry
As
for
I
the
was
dissertation
chewing
last
through
night.
lunch, I was summarizing, reading through that. But thank you for summarizing. But they said, hey, if you're not comfortable with the Neola policy, have that supplemental policy. And that's part of what I think in the December meeting, we'll get into more specifics as what the motion looks
Yeah.
like and stuff.
Yeah.
So if we can hold off before we make that vote, I would be okay. If we want to make the vote today, you know where I stand.
We're not voting on any of this. This is just us going through the
Right.
changes.
I mean, as
No
far
motions
as-
will go,
As far
there'd
as
be
the
no vote
committee
on this.
having the first review as a first reading.
Oh, even this, I thought we were voting to change policy 0131.
This is just the first reading.
How about a couple things? Like, my goal is always, I mean, I think all of us would agree in the governance piece. And so I don't think anyone's trying to move that to committee. I think that the advantage of committee to me, in my mind, is particularly that staff's there and they're giving a lot of the practical, how they feel the policies, then they speak into them, then we send it all to us to do our duty in the governance piece. So I feel like that's already happening, and it's okay that you're not feeling that way. On the 8th, if you could attend, why don't you be the second person, and I won't attend that one.
Well, from what I see,
And I
we
think,
can talk about that.
and I think once you
I mean-
experience it, you will feel more comfortable about it, because then you could also see the work being done, and then it's up close and you're feeling good about it.
Because you guys do a research on those policies. You're not just going in and saying,
Yeah, we ask the staff how they do it, I mean, and like
you're
these
doing
ones right
research.
now were very detailed, so it's actually very easy to go through. There's very little, most of it already looks like the policy we already have.
but on other policies that you have brought to
We
us, like you
have.
have done
We
research
have.
with other schools.
We've matched it with
Other-
other schools, we've brought it to the attention, like, actually, we're the only school locally that does not have, that has, the board must do the first reading. Salem doesn't have it, Central doesn't have it, who else did I write down? Someone else didn't have it, New Glarus didn't have it.
And ultimately,
Um,
we can stop at any time.
So,
Yeah.
I'm
was just giving
excited
the
that you're gonna go to
option.
the 8th, and I'm curious to see what your thoughts are after that.
Mm-hmm.
Because I haven't been to one either because of the whole quorum and,
Yeah, it's, Wisconsin law doesn't make it easy for us to collaborate,
No.
Correct.
right? And I think that's one of the biggest things I've seen since my time on the board is, and I had a mea culpa just this past weekend, right? And said, well, shoot, I shouldn't have put so-and-so on this email. But it makes it really difficult to have this conversation. And they're needed because they're real-world problems. These aren't fake, these are real-world problems that we're seeing. And Neola is purposefully, and I'm not saying they're nefarious in any way, I'm saying that they're purposely keeping it so broad that you could put a container ship, not a fire truck,
Yeah.
a container ship through this. It's just not specific in some, not all.
Yeah, yeah.
Some of them are really
Some,
easy.
yeah.
You know, changing may to shall,
Yeah.
no worries, but there is some that really need some help in making sure that we don't end up in a situation, whether it's a book in the library or something along that we allowed something in that we didn't think of, like a use of TikTok. You know, when we talk about social media, they talk about things that, or the definitions, they talk about Flickr. Flickr has, 0.2% of the social media market. Right? There's nothing about Instagram in there. And when people see that policy, my fear is that they react. I know I react. Well, that doesn't count to me because I'm doing this on TikTok,
right.
right? I don't even use Skype. So if we don't have more specificity in these tools, and that's just one example, you know, in these conditions that might be met, I think we're setting ourselves up for potential
I agree completely.
uproar with our community. And I don't want to be in that situation. I watched the Wilmot board meeting and that was crazy. I don't want to be in that situation. And I think if I don't know all the facts, right? But I can't help but think if somebody would have pulled out the policy and said, oh, somebody did something bad on their computer, it's an automatic da-da-da-da-da.
Right, and we've already, I mean, ultimately, I mean, if we don't do the policy committee as first reading, we should then plan for about 30 to 40 minutes most months to discuss policy, because we would have to do first and second readings always in an open, public noticed meeting. So that's something to consider. And it took me a really long time to adjust to what felt like lack of collaboration, but ultimately it's important that we're doing it in a public space, so this is why we have to do it how we do it. Yeah, and we could do everything perfectly with policy, and in the end, you know,
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
but, you know.
But
it
to your
becomes-
point about the Wilmot Union, we have already discussed that. We are waiting for guidance we know that WASDA, WASB will all give us something regarding that, which like our ability to if we have that kind of scenario come up, we've discussed it already. The policy committee, we talked about it briefly, but we know that we have to wait for the legal resources from WASDA and WASB to give us more formal
Yeah, and
guidance.
I-
So
And that's how we learn from those
Yeah.
incidents,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's better than having those incidents and us learning from them
Right.
than making sure that. So I get that,
Yeah.
right? But I don't think Neola's going to come out and have that certain clarity within their policy that, I don't know yet.
Yeah.
We'll see, right?
Yeah.
But everything I read in Neola is really broad and really open, right? And I get it, right? I did a lot of research of learning over Friday since you sent out the agenda and I was reading through it, and talked, right? We talked about it a little bit, but until, and I'm not saying I'm the sole one to say, you know, we should or shouldn't, but until I can get my head around how we're going to get these real world problems in a policy, I have a hard time abdicating a portion of our discussion points in our school board meetings as the governance for the district.
Well, what we can do is we can table the change until after you attend a committee meeting to see how you feel about that process. And again, I want to stress that we've done this before. Even if it's the second reading, we're not required. We can keep pressing pause
And it
until we're
says that on
comfortable
here,
and we're
too.
ready with it. So it can always come out of that. So we have to just balance it up. Let's have you. Does that sound like a plan that's workable?
Yeah, I'm working, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm willing to work.
I
like
think we
said,
all want the same. We all want the same thing, which is great policies and good governance. I
Yeah.
think part of it's figuring out like a workflow that allows staff the time to give us their feedback. Then the process in which we get there. So it sounds like
Yeah, and I would love to talk about, because I know I've reached out a couple of times and where the administrative guidelines go, right? And I know that Dr. Schmidt and the group will take care of those administrative guidelines. And I think the staff needs, and I'm sure you're doing this, so I'm not saying that you're not, but those are where the staff experience and fills in the holes from the governance starts happening a little bit more.
Right, how do you apply it, right?
Yeah, how it's applied, the real world how it's applied is very important in the administrative guidelines.
sure.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
But the governance has to be not as broad as Neola, but more for our community.
So we'll put that on December's agenda, but let's do the first reading. Are we
Yep.
not gonna do the first reading?
I'm fine.
We should do the first reading then. This would
Okay.
be the first reading.
Okay, so then the first reading for the 0131.1 would be adding the word previous and adding the words or committee. Moving on to 7544, use of social media.
This
Is it
is the one the lawyer looked over and put her,
recommendations in?
yep,
Yeah.
well, Victor's recommendations to put into the policy of legal wording, however.
Yeah, she put it in legalese a little bit. I'm fine with the policy. It took took into account the points that I was trying to make and softened some of the language that may have been too abrasive.
Exactly.
Right.
You're so mean.
I can be like that sometimes.
All right, moving on to 0100, definitions.
And as I mentioned, there's some definitions in there that are using Flickr, Skype. Skype's no longer around.
I was gonna ask you that.
It's gone as of May.
Yeah, we talked and, probably should add TikTok under that social.
TikTok, Snapchat, Instagram, YouTube Shorts, Discord.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of not so good things happen on Discord.
Well, I mean, it does say, but
Don't
not
we
limited
do-
to.
It does.
I think the kids did a YouTube channel in class, don't they? Or a YouTube short.
So,
They have to make them.
we have a cinematography course, and at one point they were uploading the shorts to YouTube for submission, but it wasn't public, it was unlisted, you couldn't see it. Like-
It was just going through the motions of
Yeah.
acting
yeah,
it out.
Absolutely, now they just submit an MP4, so, just because it wasn't, after the first round, it wasn't comfortable with it being out there, even if it was unlisted. So we just made a decision to submit an MP4, so.
So
Thank
just so
you.
I hear you, no longer using any socials to do the media.
For class, no.
Yeah, for class, yeah.
Our Renegade production team has our network, which live streams basketball games. So, which is it's after school.
Okay. And this is just definitions, so
Right,
you're
these are
just,
just
you're just
defini-
saying cross off Skype, add TikTok, right?
Yeah, TikTok. I would also,
Well-
do we use Band? Or something similar to that? Band is what the high school uses to
Oh.
kind of,
No, we don't.
we don't have anything. Okay. So that
We
was the other
use,
one I thought of when I,
That dojo,
Yeah, we use Classroom Dojo.
classroom
As a
dojo,
communication tool
dojo.
with parents.
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, that might be one we want to consider as being, since it's used for communication and stuff like that, that our social media, whatever the policies are that relate to that social media, also include school-sponsored tools like Dojo.
So
You
add
want
that
it
in
in a
there.
definition?
Yeah, I think anytime we can make it more relevant to the person who's reading the definition or the policy.
Well, it says examples of social media including but not limited to.
I know it does. I know.
So let's just add TikTok and get rid of Skype and let's add,
Classroom dojo.
just say, remind,
fine
contacting,
with
just
that.
say school-sponsored communication tools.
And actually, Twitter is now X.
Yeah.
LinkedIn, YouTube, Flickr, I've never heard of.
Okay, I think that was it on definitions.
Oh, there was one more thing, sorry. There was nothing about blogs or video blogs or anything like that. Does that need to be included? It's not really a social media.
Good point.
I know that there's a couple
Well, it does say
YouTube channels
blogs.
that are out there that aren't necessarily relevant to us today, because they don't talk about us, but they do get into some of the KUSD stuff that's going on, and
You know, it does actually mention blogs here.
Oh, yeah.
It says weblogs, blogs, wikis, online forums, chat rooms,
And
virtual
YouTube.
words.
okay, I'm good, thank you, I didn't,
Good.
yeah, that's,
All good on that one?
yes, thank you.
Moving to 0144.5. Adding a couple words.
You had a comment on this.
Yeah. I was hoping someone else did, so I didn't feel like it was. So, I mean, I'll go in. I do think, again, we're missing Dojo student chat platforms
On this,
Where?
on the,
on the, isn't this the
Definitions.
Board member,
144.5?
okay. Where would we put that?
provides a basic ethical outline but does not give the specific expectations for transparent communication or modern online conduct.
Where are you at?
Which line?
There is no line in there, that's what I'm saying, it's
No, but
missing.
where are you like, where
He's-
are
Oh.
Are
you
you,
trying
are
to
you
put
doing
it?
proposed language?
No, purposely did not do proposed language.
I'm just trying to figure out where.
Okay.
you're at on this.
Where
Let's
are
start
you
over.
on this?
What's your idea that you're saying you see something that you don't feel is here?
Correct,
Okay.
But where in this?
Where would you feel
That's
like
where
it
I'm
would go?
confused.
I'll pull it up.
Okay, cool. And then for, when you mentioned Dojo, I mean, as board members,
We don't have access
and like,
to that.
we only have Dojo access if you have a kid in the school. We don't do anything with
Well,
Dojo.
Well, that's, I guess that, I know several, you two actually have kids, or three, have kids in the school, you know, where we don't. You know, is there anything, and I'm not saying that you guys are doing anything nefarious, but is there anything in there that you could leave as a school board member, communicate above and beyond because you have access to that app where others don't?
When you're on the app, you only have access to your child's classroom, and so you communicate just with the teacher. And there would be a large group chat of just parents if they post an example, but I don't even think I can post something that all other parents would see.
I don't have it anymore, but I don't think you can either.
Right.
There's the teacher it's the way the teacher
Teacher
communicates to the
communicates.
parents.
So
That
Dojo,
maybe
I
sends
hear what
class
you're
updates.
you're looking for if there's any other platforms that we can
Well-
have conversations. And Dojo doesn't function that way.
Okay,
It's, as far as I understand how to use
okay,
it.
because band does.
Well,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
kind of like Band, except Band has an option to where only like Jason can post or only Stacy can post. Like I wouldn't be able to post. You have to be an administrator. Where Classroom Dojo is the same.
Yeah, in the particular section I was
No.
talking.
Not true.
If you have an administrator,
No,
No, because Jen Humphreys posted to Band also,
okay.
because Jason was out of the country.
We did it. We
Yeah.
did it for Band, where only the administrator could post for 8th grade. But Classroom Dojo,
doesn't have that capability.
I don't believe has that.
And when it
capability.
says, you know, in the section where it says board member communication, board members are expected to refrain from engaging in communication on behalf of the board of the district unauthorized. There's nothing in there about, hey, this includes social media.
I thought it did.
I didn't see it. And it was in, no, it does in
It says
the
for
board
me.
electronic communications devices, which I take as, you
Michelle,
know,
didn't he
Okay,
say
it says right here is B, as an individual board member.
this links
A board
with two
member
other
speaks,
policies
social
about
media
board
forums, public
communication or
forums.
board talk?
But not as the designated
I think
speaker.
that might be
Right, you have
what's
to make
missing,
that.
right?
And that's where I was trying to.
So
bring the
look at
point out, is that
policy
there's-
0143.1.
Yes.
Because that's public
That's what-
expression
yes,
of board
that's-
members. And I think it says it on, let me look it up real quick.
If there is then it should be referred to here.
It does. It's under board member communication, the
Okay, I see
first
it.
paragraph.
Bylaw 143.1.
Yeah.
But let's look up that policy.
Authority of individual board members.
Yeah, it does reference it.
Sorry, one second.
Oh, so Tim shared with us on the first page under general expectations for qualifications.
Yeah.
The reason that was added is because for snowbirds, a board member must lay their head on the pillow once every 60 days in the
In
state of
district.
Wisconsin.
In district.
In district. So that was why that green qualifications of office was included for snowbirds apparently.
So expression of, public expression of board members. The board president functions as the official spokesperson for the board. From time to time, however, individual board members make public statements or statements to individuals on school matters, to local media, on social media, to members of the community, to local offices and/or state officials. Sometimes a public statement or statements to individuals by board members imply, or the reader's listeners infer that the actions The opinions expressed or statements made are the official position of the board. The misunderstanding that it can result from these incidences may cause issues for the members, the board, as well as the district. So then it goes on and on as you have to say that it's your opinion.
You're reading 0143.1?
Yes.
Because in here it's referencing 0143.
Point one.
Point one.
Oh,
And as
down
an
lower.
example of how I put that
Okay.
into practice, a couple
But then
times I've gone to
0143.1
Madison,
also
and I've
referenced
had to give public statement, and at the front
0144.5,
of it, I have to, I
which is this
say,
one.
And then
This
it
is
does
my
reference
opinion.
also
this is not a statement of support. Though there were times, like, last year, we did a statement of the board and we all signed it, so that
Oh,
would have
there
been an
it is,
official
okay.
communication, so.
Is there one that's not one? So I think that's what the point of the Neola is. It has it in one place, but then it also references it for a broader.
Yeah.
Anything with the greens that they added that you had
No.
any feedback on?
No. No, those were just my general for that one.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, 0166.1 consent agenda.
We pretty much, from the committee, left it how it currently is.
As it is.
They gave options to add more, as you saw, but we just kept the bare minimum that we presently have.
Okay, moving on to 1461.
This one, they were just putting the title of the policies they were referencing, and then just reworded that little one green sentence.
Should an administrator as defined. Otherwise,
It's
it
for
was
the most
just,
part the same, but they just kind of reworded it shortly compared to what it's already in our docs.
otherwise it was just policy then with the
Yeah, with the
title, the
title.
policy title.
Yeah.
Okay. Good there?
Yeah.
Moving on to 2522.
Here's one that I think it requires some clear definitions of harmful to minors, developmental appropriateness, standards reconsideration. It's just, I think and this is where I think as a board we have some work to do to kind of make sure that we understand what that means in our district.
What do you mean?
To be more clarify what is harmful. If I think something is harmful and you don't, what is our how do we arbitrate that, right? How do we make sure that a book in the library that again, you and I may have a disagreement about whether it should be in the library at all. How do we arbitrate that as a school board, as a administrative guideline, if so be it? But what does that mean? Where does that arbitration happen? You know, and I think in one section of this it says no, it's a legal standard, and it says, hey, a reasonable adult. Right, well, is a reasonable adult somebody that sits in Portland, Oregon, or is a reasonable adult that someone sits in Bristol? The reasonable adult definition is very wide and can yield different things.
Did you see the attachment on Michelle's email last night about this is a new letter that the library sends out to the parents?
Yes.
I really like that idea. It gave the parent the option whether they wanted it or not. I actually went a little bit further and questioned Melanie Ferruzzi about what if someone just wants to sit in there and look at it, not check it out, but just sit in there and look at it. And she actually took some of the books and put it behind the desk, so they actually have to ask for the book.
Yeah.
Instead of it being open to where they could sit there and look at whatever.
Right.
I think that's a good
I do.
medium.
I do like that policy, that guideline that you put forth in there. I don't think it's clearly defined and opens ourselves up, whether it's Moms of Liberty or some other group that comes in and says, well, here's clearly what we structure the content of our media center, our library with. And it puts us in a bad situation could potentially, in a bad situation, for someone to come in and challenge, why is this book here? Why is this so,
And there's a procedure for someone to challenge it.
yeah, yeah.
Well,
But there's no guidelines, or not guidelines, there's no policy saying this is how it's selected.
so in the library plan, I believe it outlines this, and the name is escaping me. There is a national librarian body that what they'll do determine, content is one of those things where it is around values. And so it opens into questions about, do you feel we should be making determinative policy around values? To me, I'm looking at it as age appropriateness and access. So we have national standards of how they will, and it's not a perfect system, right?
No,
There's a difference
there
between
isn't
a
essentially.
young 14-year-old and a more mature 14-year-old, and then every family makes those decisions. But certainly like at our library, now that they have the young adult section, parents have to opt into the young adult section. And then if we're making some extra precautions, parents can access what their student's reading at any time, and have direct conversations with the librarian. So I see a lot of those, like just safety pieces and parental access is really readily available here in our system. The name is escaping me of the national body. I guess part of it will be between maybe this meeting and the next is looking at what we have here and then looking at proposed language that you would say would, for consideration. So that's, I think, the next step between here and there.
I agree. Yeah.
But as far as
And I'm
like,
prepared to go there.
as far as using the word values, to me, like I do pause because like, yeah, I can't determine what everyone else's values are. I want the books to be age appropriate, and in the library, that's a conversation between the student and their family, and all parents have access to what their kid's reading. And so I want to be really cognizant and be aware of like, I'm not going to determine if the content is valuable to me or not, because that's the freedom of the library, and I really value that. So I want to be, that word I'm a little leery of, but we want to make sure it's age appropriate and there's boundaries in place about how they access certain materials, and then we're good to go. That's
Yeah.
at least my position, how I feel about it.
And it says age appropriate or developmentally appropriate, right? But it doesn't say who's making those determinations or how it's determining which is which. Is the
Right.
school making that check? And I know we've got safeguards, and I applaud us for having those safeguards and the administrative guidelines. But when you looked at that piece of age appropriate or developmentally appropriate, maybe we refer to our administrative guideline there and say, hey, this is how we determine that. But there's really no definition there of what those two things are, and they will vary widely. If you pull in 5 people,
Right.
you're going to get 4
Five
different
different,
interpretations.
I think between now and then, we'll pull up the library plan and we'll review it, because I have a feeling it is tied to that national body that I can't recall, but definitely stating that that's how it's determined is a helpful part to add to
Yeah.
policy.
I agree.
I would agree with that part, for sure.
I would agree.
Yeah, okay. Do you,
Thank you.
do we, when we're making these notes, is it? I guess when we do this, is it gonna be a combo of, is Michelle running the items down, or like I could research the thing? I just wanna make sure that if I could be helpful, that I know something's assigned to me.
Well, this
And if I can be helpful.
probably whole
Yeah.
board.
Oh, yeah,
Yes, and probably myself as well.
okay. Just do our research, okay. Sounds good.
All right, 3120.4.
That's good.
Good on that one?
Yes?
I think we talked about, actually in this one, it's crossed out, that subject to issuance of reasonable assurances is crossed out here, and we talked about putting that back in after talking to Tim.
Where's
Where you
that?
see it. So on the first page, the second paragraph from the bottom, where it says a person will be considered a long-term sub if the person is appropriately certified, and the staff member for whom that paragraph, and then towards the end of it, where it starts with subject to issuance of reasonable assurances.
Okay, keeping that in.
We're gonna keep that in. And that's where we had that conversation about people
It's got a
applying
check
for,
mark.
Unemployment.
Unemployment, thank you.
Should that coordinate with that 4124 or no? Those are separate.
Well, I think that's what it's trying to do.
But I mean, should it reference it? I mean,
Right above C.
when things tie together like that, shouldn't they be referenced so that no matter which one you're reading, you know that there's another one that mentions it?
Yeah, I don't see that now.
Okay.
All right, moving on to 312008 or .08.
Small adjustment, and I don't know if it's a big deal for you guys or not, but we had put in on the sample of designee. But Tim reminded us that when you have a capital letter for either, let's say principal or athletic director or district administrator, it also means designee.
So that just needs
So
to be
it doesn't-
capitalized.
Well, it is capitalized, but, so he said we didn't have to put or designate in
Oh.
because it's already capitalized.
Oh, God.
So,
So that wouldn't be there.
yeah.
Anything else on that one?
Was that also the other
That was,
one, like we
yeah,
talked
did
about?
you want,
Yeah, that, so the second to the last paragraph, where we crossed it out again, it's that same conversation we had about people not being able to file for unemployment.
So keeping that second to last paragraph in.
yeah.
Okay. Moving on to 4124. Just rewriting that paragraph.
Yeah.
I mean, as an employee, I would feel like, why are you sending me a letter saying that I should reasonably expect to be working here again next year, but there's no guarantee? That's what that policy says. I would think that would be more discomforting than comforting.
I mean, it's an employment at will thing, right?
Again, it's more, Tim stressed, it's more about the technicality of them being able to file unemployment. So I'm just going with,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm
it's
I'm
clearly
just saying
happened
that
in
the
Wisconsin.
perception might be strange for an employee.
I think
to
it's
get-
an email, I don't think it's like a formal notice, but it just needs to be communicated. But yeah, it's an odd one.
Okay. Are the ones that we're asking you to go back and change, are they also considered first read pass, or are those going back?
These are all first
Well,
read.
they would get adjusted in the packet and come back for second reading if that's how you guys want it worded in there.
Got it. I'm
Does that
just
make
curious.
sense?
Okay.
All right, moving on to 7455.
I don't think, just the green portion changed in here, but everything was as what our current policy is.
And we did have Tony review this to make sure, and by the way, his inventory system is chef's kiss amazing. So,
What did you say, chef?
chef's kiss, it's
Oh,
great.
that's so funny.
It was so good.
All right.
So, there you go. It's got low jack on everything.
Moving on to 7460.
This one, for the most part, keeping, well, what we had as far as what we currently have was we didn't have C and D or that, other green portion where it says district efforts. We're keeping all that out. And then, the committee's suggesting to change, the directs with the district administrator, and when Tim read that, he said it sounds better if we also change the to shall. So he's suggesting to change the to shall, which is not on your copy because that was yesterday morning.
So after administrator should be shall?
yeah, he said it words better for,
So that would just be sharing the
it would.
decision with the administrator. The board would share that together.
It would be the board with the district administrator shall develop and implement both immediate and long range.
The verb is just shall versus
Yeah.
shall develop. Yeah,
He
instead
said,
of
yeah, he said two sounded funny, so he's,
So there's another
Okay,
small.
moving
I
on to.
I just have this picture in my head of Michelle running around, turning lights off.
two. They go off on their own now.
Like I do at my own house.
Are you done in that room? Turn the light off.
Yeah, but don't they all go dark?
I think most.
Now they do.
Now they do.
did
I was
it
cheating.
Yeah.
before.
Yeah.
Moving on to 8540.
everything's pretty much the same, except they rescinded just, those couple policy titles at the, I don't know if that's top or bottom for you, but
We do not have student vending machines at this time. We only have staff. just so
Yeah.
you know.
And there's only one, isn't there?
yeah.
Bristol School's calling me.
Ooh, is it 603? Because that means your food account's negative.
Oh, that could be.
Sorry.
Way to add that in the public.
I get 4 phone calls a day, 4 in a row.
Well, all right, so we do not have to make a motion that this is gonna be our first reading. We have it on the agenda. These will come back on the December agenda for revision, second reading.
And first reading of whatever the committee works through on the 8th.
It won't be in time.
Yes.
Nope, it won't be in time.
You won't be in time?
Nope, because we moved our meeting to the 10th.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah, oh, that's right.
Oh.
So it'll just be-
It's fine, that's fine. We'll do both.
It's fine.
Is that a problem? Okay, I didn't think about that, sorry.
No, it's not. It's fine.
All right, number 10, future agenda items. I know we have Victor's.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna put Victor's problem. Kidding.
You want more formal? It's basically to talk about to supplemental and companion policies to accompany Neola policy language, where additional clarification or local definition is required.
Okay.
Let's just, if we can, for the policy bylaws for second reading, let's put it on the agenda and
Yeah.
let's see how we feel about it, and we may or may not take an action or take a vote. And to see how.
For
we
these
feel.
ones.
Yeah, because so, like, as an example of workflow, so now the committee, so we'll do the second reading of this, but then January, we're gonna have to do a first reading, and then the second reading of this old packet, and we're getting a new packet in January. So it will be hard to just, we'll just have to,
We're gonna have to.
That's
still-
we'll
gonna
have
be
a new
hard.
packet in
Yeah, but we're
January.
not starting the new packet till we finish this packet.
Right. Yeah, oh, I know.
Is this the end?
I'm sorry. No, we're finishing this
Put
packet
us
first.
down.
I'm not.
Is this the end of
We
this
may
packet?
get it. No.
Oh, how many more are in there?
Probably about 15, 18.
Yeah.
All right, anything else for the December agenda?
Closed session will be the halfway eval, which I'm looking forward to, that'll be good, and I think that's it. Oh, when is the healthiest renewal?
Yep, we talked about doing that in
So
December.
we need to have that on the agenda for probably a vote for renewal,
Yeah.
or not, either one.
And you'll have, or you already have the information based on use and
Yep.
who
Yep,
is
we
and
will
who
tie
is
that
not.
up. Yep.
All right,
Okay.
can I, going on number 11, can I get a motion to move into closed session? Seeking a second. Or I'll make a motion, sorry. I'll make a motion to move into closed session, seeking a second.
I'll second it.
Roll call, Tina, aye, Joanne,
Aye.
Nicole,
Aye.
Danielle,
Aye.
Victor.
Right?
Motion carries 5-0. The board will convene into closed session to discuss and take possible action if appropriate under Wisconsin statute 19.851C, to consider employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee which a governmental body has jurisdiction or exercise responsibility, specifically to discuss administration of employment and performance. So if we could have a couple second break, and then we'll move. All right, can I get a motion to move into, or I'll make a motion to move into open session. Seeking a second.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Any nays? Motion carries 5-0. Time is now 6:27. I'd like to make a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you, everybody.